Not only as Kevin Smith writing and directing Clerks 3, but he returns on screen as well with his beloved and wordless Silent Bob character. He is just one of the many great movie characters who manage to be memorable despite the fact that he has very little to say. These characters all have the ability to speak in a language that can be understood, but they seem to think the silent approach is more effective. Some of the characters are villains who use their lack of talking to intimidate. Others are more withdrawn characters who prefer to let their actions speak for them. But even without a lot of dialogue, fans certainly remember these movie characters. Darth Maul, Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, 1999. The original Star Wars introduced Darth Vader as an iconic villain whose face was hidden behind a mask. George Lucas tried something new with his prequel The Phantom Menace by making Darth Maul the strong silent type whose evil glare does most of the talking. Maul has been given more lines in later appearances in Clone Wars and Solo, a Star Wars story, but he only has a couple forgettable lines in his original appearance. That didn't stop him from cementing a reputation as a terrific Star Wars villain with his epic fight with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Michael Myers, Halloween, 1978. Though there have been many silent masked killers in horror movies over the years, Michael Myers helped popularize this type of character. He is actually a character who has yet to speak on screen ever since he was introduced as a young boy who killed his sister on Halloween night. The fact that Michael wordlessly stalks the streets of Haddonfield killing people makes him more frightening, especially with his trademark heavy breathing. The newest Halloween movies have put more emphasis on Michael's silence, and it is likely fans will finally hear him talk in Halloween Ends. Edward Scissorhands, 1990. Tim Burton and Johnny Depp teamed for the first of many collaborations in the dream-like story of Edward Scissorhands. Depp plays the titular character, a creation of a lonely inventor who dies before completing him, leaving Edward with scissors for his hands. Though that appearance can be quite intimidating at first, Edward is actually a very shy and childlike creation. It gives him an endearing and sympathetic quality that allows others and the audience to see through his odd appearance. Drive 2011. Though he was mostly known as the heartthrob from The Notebook, Ryan Gosling's badass role in Drive helped audiences see him differently. He plays a stunt driver and getaway driver who lives such a solitary life that his name is not even mentioned in the whole movie. Even as he falls for a woman and gets sucked into a dangerous scheme, this cool and collected driver is more comfortable sitting in awkward silence. Part of it seems to be a social awkwardness to the character, but he remains a riveting protagonist. Boo Radley, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962. Based on Harper Lee's acclaimed novel, To Kill a Mockingbird is a beloved and groundbreaking movie. And one of the book's most intriguing characters is Boo Radley, a character with little screen time and even fewer lines. Though Boo is talked about many times in the movie as a reclusive and dangerous man in the neighborhood, it is not until the end of the movie that he emerges. He saves the young children of the story but remains reserved and uninterested in the heroic spotlight, preferring to keep to himself. Max Rokitansky, Mad Max, Fury Road, 2015. Tom Hardy took over the role of Max Rokitansky in Mad Max, Fury Road, doing a great job of making the character his own. However, Max is a protagonist who feels like a supporting character in the movie, with Furiosa taking much of the attention. This allows Max to be a more withdrawn and internal character. He barks commands and mumbles things occasionally, but never gets into conversations with other characters. It makes him seem more animalistic, which works for this wild movie. Oddjob, Goldfinger, 1964. The Bond movies eventually established the cliché of the wordless henchman, but Oddjob was the one who inspired all those who followed. The character appears in Goldfinger as the silent goon who throws his razor-sharp hat, turning it into a deadly weapon. With Bond's suave and charming hero, making Oddjob the silent threat who is pure brute force and little personality made him very effective. It is not surprising that he remains many fans' choice for the best Bond henchman of all time. Silent Bob, Clerks, 1994. Though some see Clerks as a plotless movie about people hanging out, it was the characters that helped to turn it into a cult classic. And one of the most enduring characters to come out of the movie was Silent Bob, the quiet partner to the vulgar and mouthy Jay. Silent Bob is a character who can talk but prefers to simply mime things and react to the wild things Jay says. But there inevitably comes a time in each of the View Askew Universe movies in which Silent Bob chooses the perfect time to finally speak. Chief, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest stars Jack Nicholson as McMurphy, a man who checks himself into a psychiatric facility to avoid jail time. But while McMurphy takes the spotlight, Chief is a standout character as one of the patients of the facility who keeps to himself. The fact that Chief doesn't talk to anyone else makes it all the more impactful when he finally decides to start talking to McMurphy and shows that he is more thoughtful than people give him credit for. T-800 The Terminator, 1984. Arnold Schwarzenegger might have never become the movie star icon he is today without a role like the T-800 in The Terminator. Schwarzenegger's imposing size and thick accent ended up being perfectly suited to the killer cyborg. It is another character whose silence adds to the foreboding threat he carries with him in every scene, as well as making him more believable as a machine. With such limited dialogue, it makes his lines like "I'll be back" all the more memorable.
With a gentle touch, you tell me what